nice little stroll outside again today. Doing some meditation before work has been extreme. So we'll hang out here for a minute, see if anyone chimes in. I don't have anything too specific I wanted to chat about today. Pretty much open to whatever, but if we don't get anybody on here, I will pick a subject matter to discuss, and we'll go into it here real briefly. Escaping the trees and embracing the sunlight. It is so beautiful out here today. It's literally perfect. Not too warm, not too cold, just the slightest breeze. I see we have one person live. Hello and welcome to the chat. Hope you're doing well today. I'm just taking a short walk before I go into work. Got just a nice little shift today. It's like a 4-hour shift. So I work a lot of part-time hours as of late. So I just try to do that and save as best I can. Try to be conservative in some fashion. Explainer of mysteries. Greetings. Howdy. How are you? Yeah, I'm glad to see that it's growing too. Thank you for that. And thank you for being a part of it. Very much so. Let me show you some of the scenery around here. It's really gorgeous out here. The town that I live, this is like the most secluded spot that I've been able to find. I mean, I do see people out here occasionally, but not too often, really. Not too often at all. I wonder where this little trail leads to. I've never even gone back in this part. Nice, I like short shifts, less time before my smoke break. Yep. Yeah, smoke breaks can definitely be a good way to divide up the time, that's for sure. I finally, I quit smoking cigarettes. I smoked a couple cigarettes right when my dad passed. I still vape occasionally, but really trying to get off the nicotine for the most part. So I pretty much had to quit smoking cigarettes. They were literally just dehydrating me and not helping me in any way. So I can maybe enjoy one occasionally, but yeah, they're not helping me out for the most part. But I totally understand being a smoker, because I smoked cigarettes for a long time, probably from about the time I was 19 or 20 to, just like 8 months ago is really when I dropped them for good. And even if I do smoke one occasionally, I don't really have a desire to go buy a pack or anything like that, which it feels really good to have gotten to that point. For me, it's just the oral fixation, and yes, cigarettes make you go piss a lot. Yeah. Yes, they do. They can kind of mess up a lot of things, actually. They kind of can mess with your sex drive a little bit. And yeah, I was chain smoking way too long there for a while. But it all is what it is, I've really gone off the beaten path here. I don't even know where I'm headed, but I kind of like that. Makes for some mystery. Hand rolls are really addicting. So you like roll your own tobacco? I feel like having a lower sex drive can make you more productive in some ways. Yeah, that's a really big subject. There's so many people nowadays talking about, like semen retention and transmuting sexual energy. And there's definitely something to that. I think it's really important. Yeah, I guess I just found my way over to the walking trail over here, or bike trail, or whatever this is. I think it's all just connected in one big loop. So actually, I'm just gonna go back the way I came, because I know that back that way is where the actual like wetlands is. It's a giant like kind of pond thing going on. It's really pretty. I'll show you when I get to it. I don't know if I can go around that way. I think I'll just go back the way I came. That way I don't get too lost. It doesn't seem like it goes off into anywhere. But yeah, the whole semen retention thing, there's definitely something to that. You don't just want to like waste all your sexual energy, but having a sexual drive in the first place, that vital energy, there's a lot that can be done with it, of course, when you conserve it. Channeling it into your goals or music or whatever it is that you're into. There's a lot to be said for that. I think in the spiritual community in general, there's a lot of people that kind of try to demonize it a little bit. If you try to suppress, the sexual energies too much, and you're wanting to have that experience, there are definitely dangers in that. The whole like Kundalini activation and awakening, that happens a lot with people like unconsciously or subconsciously. That's what ends up happening to them. Especially I see that in something I wanted to talk about, very soon, is kind of the whole hippie movement and the new age movement, where it's a bunch of people like pretending to be spiritual, but they don't really study any of this stuff. It's like they might just be somebody who's like a self-proclaimed witch or something, and they know how to pull a couple tarot cards, but in essence, they're not even comfortable sitting with the self. They always have to be distracting, themselves with something external. And in that kind of community, you can get caught up in a lot of energetic stuff. You start opening a lot of doorways, and by getting yourself involved in things, and it can be kind of frightening, and that leads to like premature Kundalini awakenings, which can actually cause like insanity. It's like just trying to, anytime you try to activate those higher energy centers too quickly and you're not grounded, it might feel euphoric in the moment. It might be really enjoyable, quote unquote enjoyable. But then you always have to come back to earth. You always have to ground yourself. You have to come back to reality. I think a lot of people kind of get trapped in like this fantasy world where they can't really come back to the present moment. And it just becomes an escapism. I know I'm being like very, very vague with that and generalizing it, but that's just some of my observations. Yeah, when I can. Saturn return has kind of killed it anyway. Yeah. Make sure we're getting the thumbs up in here. I see we have 3 people live, so thank you for making it in to the chat. I'm just taking a really relaxing stroll before work. It's fucking beautiful out here. It is gorgeous outside. Where I'm at. I live in Ohio. I know some of you come from come from some colder states. Somebody said the other day they had like a bunch of snow and it was freezing. So glad I'm not going through that right now. That's for sure. I'm ready for the warmer weather. I need this solar energy. I love the energy of the sun. It always brings it a better mood. You know, sometimes just sitting in the house just doesn't do it for me. I got to get outside. But yeah, the sex drive thing, I have a lot of Scorpio energy myself. So I've got, let's see, my sun is Scorpio, my moon is Scorpio. So overall outgoing character, emotions are in Scorpio. My Mars is in Scorpio. So the warrior type energy and the death energy combined there. And then Pluto, which is like the underworldly type energy, almost the Hades type energy. That is in Scorpio as well. And then I have my Lilith is in Capricorn, and then my ascending is in Capricorn as well. So there's a lot of earthy, you know, type energies associated, you know, with the Scorpio type energy. The combination of that is quite interesting. Well, I thought I would be able to come around this way, but I don't see a trail that's leading back up to the hill. I might have to just cut across here. Hi, everyone else. Yep. Welcome to the chat, everyone. Where I am at, it's going to be over 100 today. Yeah, that's pretty warm. I do like warm weather, but that's a bit hot. I would definitely want to be by the pool. You know, drinking a cold beverage. That's for sure. If it's 100 degrees outside. Either that or I'm going to be chilling in the shade. Even when I'm sweating balls, I feel that way too about solar energy. Yeah, well, sweating is beneficial. It means your body is like releasing toxins and stuff. Anytime I work out, like if I go on a run or something, yes, it's very tiring, but afterwards it feels good. It's like my system has purged things that didn't really need to be there anymore. So yeah, sweating can be really, really good for us sometimes. So this is, oh, there's a fishy down there or something. Just heard it splash. This is the wetlands. This little pond out here. When I was out here the other day, I could literally see the water was still enough and clear enough. I could see little tadpoles coming to the surface and eating the bugs. That was pretty cool. So there must be some decent sized fish or something in there. I wonder, maybe it was even a turtle that I saw. It's hard to say. Same in my tropical chart. Yep. Everything I was just explaining there was my tropical stuff. Sidereal, I've been told that that's the correct version of the zodiac, but I'm much less familiar with that. I think according to that kind of zodiac, I'm not actually Scorpio as a sun sign. I think I'm Libra, which I could see that too, in a sense, because I'm always kind of trying to balance energies. My name is Tyler, so I'm always tying things together, bringing things together. Kind of acting is like, you know, always trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Not quite integrate, but reconcile different energies and kind of bring different worlds together. Scorpio is really narrow and true sidereal. Maybe that's why us millennials are so scorpionic. Hi, Rose. How are you? Thank you for joining the chat. Problematique. You're so attractive. Well, thank you. Thank you. He is no. Sidereal has 13 signs, and it's hard to pull a chart with that. There's 13 signs? What would the 13th sign be? Looks like a bot is in chat. Oh, well. Oh. So yeah, is there anything, now that we've got a couple people on here, is there any specific subjects you need me to discuss? How do you even say that? Is that the 13th sign? Ophiuchus? Never heard of that before. Have I looked into Enochian magic? Not much. Not much. I know there are a lot of people that are into Enochian magic. I know my buddy, his YouTube channel, go and check him out, RC Freighter. He talks about Enochian magic quite a bit. He's into like John Dee and all that. I know John Dee is like one of the main guys that Enochian magic kind of originates with. I've read some stuff from the Golden Dawn material. I read a little bit about Enochian magic in Donald Michael Craig's Modern Magic, but I'm not very conversant with it. I don't know much about it. So I'm not an expert on that subject, but maybe that's something I can look into, learn a little bit more about, and then maybe try to talk about it. It usually seems I don't know if you guys keep seeing me clearly. It says we keep having back again. So. Yeah, okay, I think we're reconnected here. Kind of trying to see the screen too. It's just hard because it's bright out here. Here, I can even flip it around to look at the wetlands. But yeah, the Enochian angels, I'm not sure what the like specific purpose for working with them is. For me, I've only worked with like the elemental archangels, you know, of the lesser ritual, the pentagram, and then I've worked with the Tree of Life archangels, and then the zodiacal archangels. I know you start getting to like the, if you've read Damien Eccles' Angels and Archangels, after the zodiac, it's, or I'm sorry, yeah, there's the zodiacal angels, and then is it the angels of the Shem operation after that? I don't know if that has any connection to Enochian magic or not. Some people, they have different views on like what the Elohim is too. I know the Elohim is connected with Enochian magic in a way. Some people say that the Elohim are the beings that are referred to in Genesis that kind of helped create this world. They're not the ultimate God. Elohim actually means gods, plural, and it's feminine plural, I believe, in Hebrew. But like if you watch Universal Master YouTube channel, he talks about how the Elohim are actually kind of trying to invert humanity and really kind of trying to drain humanity of its energy rather than like helping humanity grow and evolve. So there's so many different views on those things. I'm not really an expert. I just try to kind of study different ideologies and see what people have information-wise through their own experience and all those sorts of things. So it's just something I need to try to work more intimately with. I guess we're already talking about Scorpio and scorpionic things. Yeah. RC is cool. I'm a member of his channel. Yeah, his channel is really neat. I like it. He's got some really cool guests on there. I've chimed into a couple of his live chats before. He's always been really nice to me. He's a cool dude. He's a good brother. I've messed up things bad from that, so I avoid it now. The Enochian magic, I'm guessing. Yeah, I've heard that if you get into it, you know, without the proper preparation or whatever, it's just the same as like getting into like the Qliphoth or something like that without understanding what it is. That's something that I've just purely studied for the most part. I've worked a little bit with the energies of Lilith, like literally just dipping my toes in the water, just trying to get a feel for what the energy represents. And it's deep, it's dense, it's that's all it takes is to kind of, it's a very powerful energy. So if you're going to actually initiate yourself into that tree, you got to be ready. You know, you got to be prepared and get yourself a solid foundation going, you know, kind of a safety net of sanity to fall back into. But I think it would be a really useful journey, the things you would learn from initiating into that system. Oh, you're cutting out. The live is choppy. Is the live still choppy? Or was it just for a minute there? AFAIK. I'm not sure what that means. That must be an abbreviation for something. AFAIK, Enochian magic. Uses the Enochian angels, not the Shem. Okay. I guess, yeah, I guess I just don't know what the actual like definition, like what differentiates Enochian angels from other sorts of angels, and where do they exist within like the hierarchy of angels. I'm not really sure about all that. I know I went to an OTO temple once and visited, and they had, what's one of those things that has like the different Hebrew, oh, I just dropped my water. What is one of those things, it's almost like it looks like a checkerboard, but it has different Hebrew letters on it. It's like a runes, you use runes with Enochian, is that right? Something along those lines. They had one of those, like a board of different symbols. Xavier. Freighter Xavier from Mind and Magic. That was one of the first YouTube channels I started watching, actually, when it comes to this type of thing. Yep, started watching him probably. It's probably been like a good 8 years or so since I've been watching Freighter Xavier. Definitely a good place to start. Learning how to, you know, be unpolarized for the most part. We all polarize in a direction, like ultimately, as physical beings, a positive or negative, we're like moving towards one. But we inhabit, you know, we have both of the polarities existing within us. Got some other people coming out here now. Not the only one. I find jinns to be the easiest to work with. Okay. And jinn, that's kind of like, doesn't that translate to friendly spirit? Or is that daemon? Are they kind of one and the same? Whenever I think of jinn, for some reason, I always think like more Eastern, ideologies. Makes me think of like Aladdin, and just kind of those things start to come to mind. We have 5 people in the chat right now. Welcome everyone. I'm just taking a stroll before I go into work today. It's a beautiful day outside, so I had to get out and go on a walk. Make sure we're getting a thumbs up here if we can. On a live chat, how you do that, I think, is you have to go to the upper right-hand corner of the screen and hit like the 3 dots. I think that's how you get the like. Did you try the Golden Dawn Enochian or the D. Kelly Enochian? So that's another thing too. So there's 2 different kinds of Enochian as well. Mainly the 7 Kings, it's just hard to find English sources aside from the Shams al-Maref. I tried Neo Enochian as far as I know. So Golden Dawn and Crowley, I wish I could find a Thelema Lodge near me. I know where I'm at. I think the closest one is Dayton, I want to say. Dayton, Ohio. Sword and Serpent Oasis. LVX Magic, too. Go ahead and check out her YouTube channel. She's part of a lodge, I think in like West Virginia. I can't remember what the name of it is, but she does talks and stuff there. So she might be a really good person to try and reach out to for that. The Rosy Cross. I used to do the Rose Cross. I did it for a little while. That's a really interesting ritual. It's a really beautiful one, and it's very like symmetric. Like it's very like kind of has a squarey, like the energy's very squared off. Whereas when you're doing like the lesser ritual, the pentagram, it's more like circular. You know, you've got the magic circle going on and the hexagram above and below, but the Rose Cross is like this. It's almost like you're building like a house, the foundation of a house or something. I had really good experiences when I did it. I didn't do it for very long because I'd kind of stepped back in my practices for quite a while. I learned a lot of new information, particularly about, more the left-hand path and the negative polarity, and was starting to realize that I was trying to go so far on this quote-unquote, path of light or whatever, and was really ignoring or repressing a lot of darker aspects within myself, which I am still working through every day. Things that have just not been completely resolved within the self. And I think these are things that need to be truly assimilated. These are things that need to be truly, just sat with and really totally processed, before trying to reach the top of that tree of life. So, because if you're not ready for unity consciousness yet, if there's still some kind of ego, which I very much have a lot of that still going on within myself, you're gonna shoot your way back down, kind of, in a way. So if you're really gonna accept the darkness, you kind of got to become it first, become one with it. That's the way I see it anyway. From what I understand, the Golden Dawn version wasn't translated well, and they mistranslated many things, and that's why people have weirder experiences with it. That kind of makes sense. I mean, some of that stuff's just old now. It's some of the like the Aleister Crowley stuff and all that. It's almost too mystical. Like, I mean, you need to keep that mystical element to your practices, that mysterious element, that like supernatural transcendental element. But you also have to learn how to condense and kind of compartmentalize these practices so they make a lot more sense. So they have a lot more practical application. I hear some bullfrogs around here somewhere. Turn the screen around real quick. Back to the wetlands part. Yeah, it's really pretty out here. I'll have to unfortunately, I'll have to jump in the car and start thinking about heading to work. So, at least it's a short day though, so that part's good. Jinn comes from the word hidden in Arabic. Okay, Arabic. So, yep. Definitely that Eastern influence. Thank you for sharing that. In the Quran, it's believed Solomon controlled the jinn, which is why it's complicated to classify jinn. Yeah, they say that he commanded the 72 demons or the 72 jinn of the Goetia to build the temple. That's something that a lot of Masons don't really know. It just kind of tells you in Masonic lore that the temple was made without the hands of men, but it doesn't tell you that Solomon had a magical ring that was given to him by Archangel Michael, and that he used the sigil on it to control all these demons or whatever. And that's the thing that's interesting about Solomonic magic. It's all about like kind of controlling the demons and, you know, almost like entrapping them and willing them to do certain things. It's actually really weird if you read like the Lesser Key of Solomon and all those sorts of books. Some of the methods that people use to try and bind and control these spirits is really weird and seems kind of rude, actually. I wouldn't want to be fucking around with the energies like that. Maybe Solomon had a more intimate experience with the demons. Maybe they were like more his friends, and he kind of understood the darkness and how to utilize their energy that way instead of trying to enslave or entrap them. It's hard to know. It's hard to know what's actual, you know, what actually happened, and then what is just, you know, more fantasy, fairy tale type stuff. Even, you know, studying the mythologies or the mythical aspect of things, it's the real thing to take into account is, oh, there's a cool little bird right there. Let me see if I can spin this around. Wants to say hi. He's got like some orange wings, if you can see him. Oh, he just took off. Black with some orange on his wings. But like Solomon, for instance, I would say it's more important to just understand the archetype of what that represents. Sol, the sun, Om, the primordial vibration of the universe, and On, which is the Egyptian city of light. So it's a 3-syllable name. It's a very symbolic name. It means lots of other things. I kind of break down his name a lot more in my Patreon, especially in chapter 8, because it talks about the Master Mason degree, some of the symbology of that. And I talk about Solomon on that. And yeah, you can also read about it in Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages and Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma. Those two books are really like some of the best books I recommend for anyone who's interested in trying to learn about Freemasonry. Anyone who wants to learn about more of the like actual mystery school aspects or the actual tradition of it, instead of maybe, you know, what's just taught in the mainstream side of it. Ironically, a lot of Golden Dawn magicians are just suppressing their ID and have overblown egos. Yeah, it's kind of what I've been told by lots of people. It's kind of what I've noticed too, because it's always about embracing the light. It's always about being like trying to dispel the darkness, and that might come with ignoring certain aspects of the self. There is a lot of just like, I think, intellectual ego that becomes a part of that too. The Golden Dawn. I have a friend who's part of a Golden Dawn temple. And she said, yeah, it's basically just a bunch of nerds. And a lot of inflated egos. So you kind of get that in lodge systems a lot of the time. It doesn't matter what mystery school it is. The best leader is always going to be somebody who really doesn't even want that leadership role, and that is just taking up the responsibility because someone has to do it, and they see that role or that position needs filled, and they do it out of love. They do it out of a true sense of service to creation, rather than just trying to have a title and say, oh, I'm fancy this or I'm fancy that. A lot of people get caught up on titles. But my friend Zarita, yeah, she's part of a Golden Dawn temple, and she said kind of the same exact thing. Not to downplay the Golden Dawn at all, though. I think it's an amazing system. Yeah, magicians are nerds. I definitely accept that title. I'm just a nerd overall. I love video games. I love the lore of video games. I love to read. I love to study. And I'm into magic and all these sorts of things. So I think that definitely classifies me as a nerd to a very high degree. I can't really relate to a lot of people anymore. It's the older I get and the more, the deeper I go into my studies and practices, it's hard to relate to people. Even people that are close to me sometimes. I'm like, I don't understand why you're into that. But hey, everyone has their own thing, and everyone is on their own path and their own journey. And there's just a lot of things in life I have a hard time understanding. I'm like, why the desire for something that's so mundane? I can't understand it. There's a lot of things I don't quite understand. So maybe I need to tap into more of that Binah or Binah energy. Start working a little bit more with that energy. Give me just a second. Oh, I'm sorry I had to end the walk, but gotta at least get moving towards work. I don't really have to clock in till about 2:05 or so. Might want to get me a little beverage before I go in though. Maybe a little bit of caffeine. I try to cut back on caffeine as much as I can, but I'm definitely still kind of addicted to it a little bit. So opposite of Crowley almost. Laughing my ass off. Anyway, got to go. See y'all later. Explainer of Mysteries, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm trying to remember, I don't know if you have your own YouTube content. Do you have your own videos? I need to go and check that out. I think you've tuned into my live before. I try to remember all my peeps, so I love you and thank you for tuning in and being a part of this conversation. So it's really made this live stream much more enjoyable. With power, pleasure, come great suffering. Yeah. Tarzi 676. I can relate to that a little bit. There's such great, I meant to say this in my video I did yesterday, the Archangel video, but I didn't quite say it the way I wanted to. There's so many pleasures that we can chase in this life. And, so many great experiences to be had. It's like we seek that next thing, that next thrill, that next pleasure. But these things can become fleeting after a while. It's like if you keep trying to chase it and chase it and chase it, it's like you will never reach it. So you really have to just work on the alchemical gold that exists within. If it's all really within you. If you can just dig deep enough, you don't have to always be like, you don't always have to have external, what's the word I'm looking for? Not just gratification, but it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it, but you know what I'm saying. sometimes if you can hold off pleasure for a while, it makes it much more enjoyable. If you're just constantly seeking pleasure, you're going to just drain yourself, and you're not actually going to be able to enjoy it. That's why temperance is so important. Conserving on certain things. That way, when you do go to really get into it and enjoy it, you can enjoy it much more because you've controlled yourself to some degree. You've subdued yourself and kind of, cleaned up your own act. And then when you do embrace it, you can embrace it more fully, in a sense, if that makes sense. LOL. That makes a lot of sense, aren't we? Oh, I already read that. Yes, we are nerds, for sure. Peace and love. Kind of seeking thing, the soul of Gnostics. You're seeking through Gnosticism? Is that what you're saying? I wouldn't traditionally classify myself as Gnostic per se, but I mean, Gnostic just means, Gnosis just means knowledge. It's Greek for knowledge, right? So, I mean, to a degree, that's what we are doing on this path is, finding the knowledge within, seeking that light through self-gnosis. That's why I think Gnostic Christianity has a different viewpoint. Instead of a external savior, it's like you are your own savior by going within and doing the deeper work, the deeper emotional work, the deeper trauma work, whatever your shadow work, all that type of stuff, all those sorts of things. So yeah, everybody, we've got 4 people in here. Thank you all for tuning in so far. I've got probably about 12 minutes or so before I am going to end this live stream. So if there's any last comments or any last questions that you might have, or subjects that you want me to touch on, go ahead and leave that down in the comments section. And I see we have 2 thumbs up now, so thank you for that. Gotta get that H2O. Drinking water is really important. It's something, I don't drink enough water. And I'm conscious of it every day. I'm like, I need to drink more water. It's just not exciting typically to drink water. Sometimes you can get some of those fancier waters and they kind of have a more refined, cleaner taste. And they're usually better for you too. That's what I've noticed with some of the water companies that are more superior. You don't have to drink as much of it because it's supplying it's supplying more nutrients to you. Wow, this person's just trying to walk across this fucking street. Not waiting for cars, or, well, I guess she did have to wait. That was not really the appropriate way to try and cross the street, though. Brother, glad I finally got a little of a live. Have a great day. Thank you, LVX. Thank you. You've been on my mind. I hope you've been well. And yeah, I've still got a little bit of a cough. For those of you who watched my live performance the other day, I knew that I had something going on. I had this bad cough. And I finally went into urgent care the day after my show. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And sure enough, I had pneumonia. So I've taken a bunch of antibiotics. This is my day 3.5 of taking them. They have helped me a lot. I still have some of this gunk I'm trying to work up, but it is a lot better. I feel a lot better in the mornings, especially when I wake up, because I was waking up with absolutely no energy, and just some general depression on top of that, it's made it tough lately. So a lot of different emotions I've been working through lately, and really just trying to sit with myself when I can, I'm just trying to accept what's coming through, and trying to understand, a little bit more where my place is in the role of things currently. So I am. Thanks. Glad you're feeling a bit better. Yes, thank you. And you're very welcome. So yeah, I was earlier in this chat. I was actually on a really beautiful walk. We have a place called the Wetlands near here, and I had to jump in my car because I'm on my way to work now. We've probably got about 5 to 7 more minutes in this live chat before I gotta go into work. Probably gonna grab me a drink and clock in and all that stuff, so want to leave, a couple minutes early. I work at 2, but we have a grace period of like 7 minutes, so really I can clock in at like 2:06, 2:07 at the latest, and I'm still on time, so that's kind of cool. Take it a little bit at a time. Yeah, for sure. That's really what I've learned a lot about this journey, is that it is about taking it slow, and it is about having solid foundation. And if you try to do stuff too fast, because I've tried to invoke a lot of energies at once before, even with angelic energies. If you fucking invoke the elemental archangels, the tree of life archangels, and the zodiacal archangels, that's a lot of damn energy that you are trying to, it's a lot of density that you are trying to take on. Even though energies of angels are more etheric typically, it's still a lot to handle, and it's a lot of ego. See, when I started doing like the lesser ritual of the hexagram, I used to do the LBRH. That's when I started to like have a bunch of ego shit really slap me in the face. It was a lot of things coming through that I couldn't quite accept. That seemed to be around the time that started happening, because you vibrate Aura Rita, which means his permutation is 1. So it's literally, you're being shown the interconnectedness of all reality. And sometimes that's not comfortable. There are people that I don't care for. There's people that I see them and I'm like, why the fuck do they exist? Like, I cannot resonate with that at all. And I realize they just represent like aspects of we're all like reflections and aspects of ourselves. So these people are like aspects of some of the most, I would say, like least wanted parts, I guess I could almost say, of myself. But maybe it's something that I'm not totally getting into. I'm not digging deep enough into my own self to completely understand. I'm not sure. So I wish I could go into a little bit more detail. Maybe that's a conversation for another time. So love it. 2:06. Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen today. I'll probably clock in about 2:06, because it's 1:54 right now. So we've got like 2 more minutes to talk. 3 more minutes maybe, and then I'm going to go in there and get me some caffeine quick. I only work 4 hours, thank God. So I still hate my own bullshit all the time. I'm thinking that never ends. Growth is eternal, perhaps. Yeah, it's it is. It totally is. Yeah, it's like just when I feel like I've started figuring something out and I'm like, okay, I've gotten over it. No, like it always comes back around and kind of hits me in the face again. So that means that I didn't work through it completely. I didn't completely process it. So that's what I'm trying to learn how to do that a little bit more efficiently right now. That's how it's like. Yep. Yep. For me, one of my biggest things is I'm just trying to find more like-minded people that I can like. I love having my YouTube channel. I love all of my people that watch my content, that are involved in live chats like this. I love you all so much. I just wish I had more people in my life in person that I could, like communicate with and just hang out with and be more in resonance with this type of stuff. So it's really hard to find people that, are serious about studying and really taking their practice seriously and really just going within and not just being distracted by the outer reality. Like I don't need to go out and entertain myself with a whole bunch of things. Like I'm pretty content with just staying at home and being a nerd and reading books and watching a little bit of TV. I try not to watch too much TV or play too many video games, because if you do that, you just kind of get, you just get kind of lazy after a while. So it's all about balance, exercise. I don't exercise a whole lot anymore. I'm just always so busy at home and stuff. It can be tough. We love your channel, you and your content too. Oh, thank you. Thank you, LVX. It's been a real pleasure having you as part of this community. I consider you, one of my major community people on this channel now. So, and I don't know if you've checked out my Patreon or not yet. I don't know if you would find a lot of value in that or not. What I have on there, that's my audiobook of Freemasonry and Ceremonial High Magic. I don't know if you're into Freemasonry a lot. I know you're more OTO based, but I know you and I have chatted back and forth about some of the similarities and stuff of those two mystery schools. So, all right, everyone. As much as I hate to end this chat, I could keep this going for a while, but I'm probably gonna have to jump off of here. And if any of you want to comment later, you can. Always feel free to comment on any of my videos. I know you guys would always have nice things to say. I have some really crazy people come on my channel sometimes. They call me evil. They say I don't know, they just don't make sense to me. I'm like, you don't even know me. You think I'm trying to take over the world or something? Like I'm some kind of Illuminati? It's just silly. I think people are just whacked out or something. I don't know what's going on. So as soon as I buy a house, I'm in, just saving. Nice. Yeah, I need to buy a house too. We rent right now, and but the price is so nice. It's hard to it's so hard to try and look for anything right now. The home buying game is so ridiculous. It's insane. So, alrighty, everyone. So you know how to reach me. I've got my email in most of the video descriptions and my YouTube channel description, so you can reach out to me that way. Comment on my videos. Make sure we get a thumbs up in here before I end the live chat. It's 2 o'clock now, so I am about to go do this thing. So it should go quick though. It shouldn't be bad. So thank you, Rose. You have a good day as well. So thank you very much for tuning in, and it's always appreciated when you guys get involved in the chat, and it makes it more enjoyable. So peace and blessings, my friends, and until next time, thank you.